We've been doing this event, Slashers, for I think almost 2 years with Banque, and every time I see new faces, and this is exactly what we want. We see the Mexican Cultural Center for Cinematic Arts as a place in which people, not only Mexicans, but people from all nationalities feel as if it's their home, and they can get to know some other people, create and enrich their own networks for your own benefit. So we have events like this, which is dedicated to the cinema, to the arts, and we also have some others that have to do with visual arts. In fact, we are promoting just now, and I'm going to do this commercial, an initiative that I was telling some of you, and I'm sorry if I'm going to repeat myself, called 35 by 35, which is for emerging artists in painting, drawing, photography, metal, installation, all visual arts that you can think. The only requirement is that they live in LA and that they are 35 years old or younger. Anyone can participate. The only thing they need to do is to send a picture. If you go to our webpage, cccmla.com, you'll find there all the information. It's very easy. We will have a wonderful curator who will select the 35 best artworks. And the people who are chosen will have the opportunity to present their works in front of the media, also to create some connections among other emerging artists, access to curators. We're going to invite directors of museums, art collectors. So it's really, really a good opportunity for emerging artists. So if any, and it includes artists who express themselves using video, and I'm pretty sure that many of you here are in the movie industry, so maybe this open call is also for you. So if you're interested, go to our webpage, or if you know someone who could benefit from this, please let them know. And now, without saying
a question.
Yes.
Why there is an age limitation on it?
Because if you see, we're going to do another one which is for older people, but if you get to see the collections that museums have, it's usually for, it's composed by people who are mostly male and are 5 years. So we want to give an opportunity to emerging artists to start their career. It is very important, especially for very young artists, the ones who are, for example, in high school. The experience that we had last year, and it really moved me, was that some of them said, thanks to that, because I was able to participate in the collective exhibition, I was accepted in this ex-college, because it was important to fill out my application. So that's the spirit of this. But since you are a woman and you're an artist, I'm going to anticipate something that we are going to do, and it's going to be the first mapping of women artists in LA. So that's another thing that will happen soon. But anyway, that's regarding some of the programs that we have here at the consulate. And just now, I am very thrilled to introduce a wonderful actress who I admire a lot because of the capacity she's got to meet people, to bring them here and facilitate contacts with them in a very generous and friendly manner. To me, she's not only a wonderful connector, but a dear friend, Banque Tapia.
Thank you so much.
The floor is yours. You're going to introduce us, as you always do, to wonderful slashers. I would love to introduce you, but I think our actress is going to do this much better. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, that's our Council of Cultural Affairs, Silvia Brida. Thank you so much. I just want to let you know, Mexican consulate, but these guys have opened the doors to anyone who wants to collaborate and participate with Mexicans, who wants to support. We have a lot of award-winning filmmakers, so in a lot of talented people that is not only in the industry but in cultural and everything. So sign up for the events at the consulate. You're gonna like it. I've been collaborating with them with my events of After Slash, and they've been allowing me to bring diversity in my guests, people who are not just Mexican, but like from other nationalities, other backgrounds, and is welcome. Again, I want to clarify, I do not work here. I'm just a friend like you, and I just come close to my consul and say, I have this project, I have After Slash, would you welcome us? Can I come on board with my projects? And they totally did, and I've been doing this for many years, but with Cinta Prida pretty much like 2 years before the pandemic started, like about 4 or 5 years. So it's been awesome. Thank you so much. Come and actors, please make sure your cell phones are silenced. They can be on, because I would like for you to take pictures and tag us and share them on your social media, of course. All of them are Actors Slash with 2 S and CCCM LA. So with that being said, we are going to start in just a moment. We have a small video right here that Luis is going to play for all of you, and we'll be back. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. So I would love to go one by one and explain what they do. That's what I thought. That was my plan, but I think it will be better if they talk about themselves a little bit. And I'm going to be calling in one by one to come to the stage and sit with me in alphabetical order. The first one will be casting director Alan Luna, who unfortunately, and I'm going to lock him in right now. Alan, if you are there, can you please reveal yourself? You can hear us. Yeah, there you are.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to silence this, and I'm just going to have this for the parlante. So whenever you talk, I'm going to hide it and you can see it. So there's Alan. There you go. And I'll just have him on the top. And there you go. There it is. So you can see him. Unfortunately, Alan, you want to tell us why you couldn't come today?
You can't hear me.
Did it? He just was like, la, la, la. Alan, sorry. You want to tell us why you couldn't come today?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I have like a flu or COVID, one of the two. I'm not entirely sure. I was exposed to COVID last Thursday in my lunch meeting with the showrunner of a TV show that I'm currently casting right now with Disney. And I think my showrunner had COVID because she told me on Monday when I started feeling sick that she tested positive. So Tuesday and Wednesday I felt fine, but then yesterday I started feeling sick and I got some COVID tests, total of 5 COVID tests, and they all became today and yesterday. They're all negative, but maybe it's a flu. I'm not entirely sure if it's COVID or the flu. but I'm feeling terribly sick, and I thought it was best to try to still attend this virtually instead of in person with a mask and
Recording in
Risk-
progress.
Sorry.
no worries, and risk getting everybody sick. Can't have that. It's a week away from Thanksgiving, so yeah. But I'm excited to be here nonetheless in a virtual capacity.
Well, thank you so much for at least being present. I know you don't feel very well. And thank you, Consul, for putting this together, because we just gave him a notice like just a couple of hours ago. Can you help us do this? And they did, and they did the whole setup. So thank you so much. And thank you very much.
Luis.
And Luis, Ramon, help us put it all together. So my next guest, I'm going to go in alphabetical order, I said, right? So Anthony Lucero, he's a writer / director, and he's amazing. He has an awesome movie that we're going to talk about it. It's been on festivals running. East Side Sushi, that's how I met him. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
just pick a seat.
Oh,
And
sure.
is that that one or that one? Just any of those two.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Then Hansa Salmon. Am I pronouncing it
Yeah,
correctly?
Hansa Salmon,
Hansa.
yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
We met on social media. We follow each other. So you see the power of follow people interesting people.
Follow me.
People who you don't know, but thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Casting director / actor. You don't have that one in the corner. Thank you. And Susanna Drissi, I'm sorry, I'm changing her name. Thank you so much.
everybody.
She's a writer / director. I just met her a couple of weeks ago in a theater festival. She wrote 2 different plays, and I was very impressed with her work, and I immediately said, I have to come. Thank you so much. Please. Sharing this mic. I'm going to be sharing this one with nobody. So probably I should move a little to the left. But Alan, you can still hear us, right? Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
And you see me. Okay, perfect, so much. Oh, you just press the button, keep it, hold it, there you go. Oh, magic.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, you guys, for coming. I see a lot of actors, which is amazing. I see Mario Corona in the back, / producer. Thank you for coming, Mario. Cristina. Thank you so much, Castro. And I just met, I forgot your name, so thank you so much. And the awesome actor who's helping me take a picture somewhere.
Tahir.
Hey, what happened with the pictures?
No, I'm just
It's a word, man. No, thank you so much.
And me too.
Yeah, gracias. Thank you, thank you. And tell them where are you flying from and your name, please. He's so awesome taking care of the video. Introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'm Nestor Sierra. I was born in the States, and I grew up in Colombia, and I studied acting at the New York Film Academy. And right now, this year, I started studying filmmaking at San Francisco Film School. And I just got back this past Saturday from Tunisia and Italy.
And he's here to help. Thank you so much, Nestor. Thank you. So, can you move a little that way? Yeah. So we can be here together and then take a check mic. So, again, thank you so much. Before we go to the do's and don'ts, I would love to know, what are you guys up to at this very moment? And let's start with you, Anthony.
This moment, I work in visual effects. I've done that since I got out of film school. It's just kind of like my bread and butter. When I'm not shooting something, I just keep going back to visual effects. I'm working on a visual effects film right now, supervising that. And in pre-production for my next feature film, which we were in pre-production in 2020. I found the financing, and then COVID hit, and we were casting. So we spent the whole year of 2020 in pre-production, and then COVID just did not go away. So the film, the investor pulled out, but luckily we're going to start making it this March. So that will be my next feature film.
And Let's talk a little bit about what I mentioned, the East Side Sushi. It's a movie that you filmed a couple of years ago that I was very impressed. It's about a Mexican lady who wants to become a Japanese sushi chef, but because it's very dominated by Japanese men, they won't allow her to be one of them. And I think the reason normally women are not allowed to work in the kitchen is because they have warm hands. They can change the temperature of the food, something like that.
Yeah, and that was part of it, and it's not true. But,
I heard. But the movie, despite it's been out there, like you released it many years ago, it's still making a lot of noise. It has won a lot of festivals, and right now can be seen.
right now, it always jumps on different platforms. It was on Netflix, and I think it's back on Amazon Prime at the moment. But you can see it on Canopy for free. On YouTube, but it just changes like every year or so. It goes onto a new platform. But I think it's on Amazon Prime at the moment.
And it's starred my very dear friend, again, Elizabeth Torres. And she's also an actress slasher. But I recommend you guys see it. He wrote it, he directed it, and probably produced it, and a bunch of things.
Edited it, did craft services,
Transportation, testing,
transportation, everything. I did everything on that film.
total slasher.
Yeah, but I kept it cheap, But you know how to do more tasks, and you keep it because I financed it myself. So I was the sole executive producer on the film, which at the time was very difficult to put my own money into this. But then it benefited later because I was the only executive producer once I sold the film. So
It paid
it
off.
worked. It paid off. Yeah,
That's very good. And you're from San Francisco, right?
from Oakland, right? next
From
door.
Oakland, yeah, I remember Oakland. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's go with Hamza. I know, let's play chairs. Hamza, you are amazing. I mean, I'm kind of like a social media police. These guys, well, they helped me advertise. Hamza had like 3 platforms, and I want you to talk about Menasa, and I want you to talk about Arab casting and everything. Are you really the only casting director who cast Arabs?
I'm sure other people do. I'm the only, hello? I'm the only Arab in the TSA.
I think you want to bring it closer to you, yeah.
Like the only Arab and I guess the only Arab Middle Eastern. Because I was saying Middle Eastern first, but then it's so stupid to say that there's like, Israeli Arab Middle Eastern. So like, a lot of people I work with from Israel, so I'm like, oh, okay, never mind.
But
I'll
also-
stay with first Arab and we're good at that, yeah.
And I so we're gonna go to the Q's and A's at the end. I'm sorry. If you take pictures, please take them landscape. It will be awesome. I will appreciate it because I want to need them. So I saw last night that you were in a film festival or something, and then the previous night as well. Like you're like a socialite everywhere.
Our movie called Jasser is actually playing tonight. Tonight, probably the last night, and they're going to. There's a ceremony today and tomorrow. It's called Jasser. That's the movie I cast. So I'm really proud of it, and it's playing in LA, So.
And you did the casting for that?
Yeah. So it took like 6 years to make.
That's
My movie,
fantastic.
and I was on it till now, like trying to sell tickets. I'm not selling tickets because I don't sell, but I'll post it up. And like, if I want to sell, I'll sell every ticket, but not my job.
Did you perform as well?
No, but I
Because he's an actor, I mentioned, right?
yeah, I mean, I go to trial, why not some stuff? Some stuff it makes sense. Like I just like a small role, like background or something. There's some stuff like this I draw a line. Unless if it's like it makes sense, it's not me. Like for example, I've got there's a show. I can't name it because remember life, but I'll tell you what it is later. But it's a show on HBO. My friend is producing it. So he called me, introduced me to other people, and they asked me to cast somebody, and then he was fighting the guy they want. Well, you look like you want me.
That's great. That's awesome.
So
I saw a lot of women.
I auditioned for it, didn't work through, but sometimes you like, it looks like you want is there because you like, I know what I can do as an actor, as a voiceover actor. I do voiceover a lot, thanks God. So I cast myself as, if I'm right for it, then it's fine. even Centipede, for example, came through, and they wanted to meet cast, and I've casted, and then they want to see me, and I end up the winner. But they had no clue that I was casting. The
That's-
background, who was the guy.
That's great, that's
So, like,
awesome.
Yeah, so it happens sometimes, though.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go back at that. Susanna, how about you? You wanna tell us about, we can talk about the little secret that you have right there. Yeah, because she's amazing. Like, let's talk about the two plays that you wrote, directed, and produced for the festival Short and Sweet a couple of weeks ago. One of them with Cristina Castro made it to the finals, didn't win, but that's still a pretty big deal. And one was comedy and a musical, and the other one,
This drama.
yeah.
Right. Thank you, Mahe. So we had two, I was invited this year to submit a play to the Short and Sweet Hollywood Festival. However, I got a little bit ambitious, and so I decided I would submit a musical that I hadn't written yet, and a play. And so I submitted one in Spanish called Hola Soledad, which deals with women's spaces during COVID and the rethinking of women's spaces, the domestic sphere in the time of confinement. And the other one, much lighter, called Honolulu Baby. It's a musical about two women who dream of traveling but have no money. And they go to the airport, LAX, all the time to pretend that they're going somewhere. And one of those times, they actually find a lost luggage. This was the 80s. A lost luggage, and they take off with it. And in that luggage, there's magic and dreaming and a whole new world that they were anticipating. And Cristina Castro was one of the stars of Honolulu Baby, and she was absolutely fantastic. It's my second musical. This is a short musical. I had a whole musical that was supposed to premiere at the Kubek Center during COVID, and it didn't. That was called Nocturno. We're still trying to bring that back. Honolulu Baby was a very special project because it required a lot of tender, loving care. I wrote the songs, I wrote the lyrics, I wrote the music. I worked with an amazing arranger. I am a Cuban-born writer, so I wanted Cuban music, and I worked with an amazing Cuban arranger who actually lives in Mexico right now. So we did a lot of what's up. Yeah, I did the scene design, absolutely everything, much like you know, all the hats. You know, with the collaboration of my wonderful actors, I'm missing one, Magdalena Edwards. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a lot of work. And so that was the project that I'm sort of leaving behind and will retake at some point. And you wanted me to mention?
Let's leave it as a surprise.
Okay,
I know
let's
you
leave it
have
as a surprise.
a lot of things.
I have a lot more.
A secret somewhere there. I'm gonna go back to Alan, because he's a fantastic casting director as well. Not only for Hispanics and Latinos, but he has, if you look him up as well in IMDb, just like this guy right at the end. Alan, my teenager niece, I'm sorry, the camera is here, but I can see you, asked for Eugenio Derbez, and you wanna talk about, what is it? You wanna talk about that next movie that we should be? The book is fantastic. She made me book like
Yeah.
whole collection.
That's so funny, yeah. So there's a film that I cast last year, it premiered this year at the Toronto International Film Festival called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And it's an adaptation of a novel that sold close to 1 million copies. It's a coming of age of these two Latino kids in El Paso, Texas. And without spoiling it, it just, you know, these two kids discover over the course of like 2 summers that they're in love with each other. In an era and in a time where, you know, socially, there was a lot of issues taking place. And so the book itself tackles a lot of social issues, while at the same time really just, you know, telling a universal story about 2 people that love each other. So the book was adapted last year. The director, H. Alberto, she's also Cuban American from Miami. It took her like 7 years to make that film. And funny enough, how it happened was before the book became what it is today, Lin-Manuel Miranda did the audiobook for it. And when H decided to adapt it, she like tweeted at Lin and said, "Hey, I'm making this movie." And Lin was like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely something that needs to be made." But this is like, he did the audiobook for it before like In the Heights on Broadway came out. So he's a true champion, and then from there, a bunch of dominoes fell into pieces.
So Lin-Manuel came on board. I mean, he just won an Oscar for Encanto, and the other one with Andrew. What was the other one with exactly? And but so that book is it really based in two Latino boys in El Paso, or one was Caucasian? The original book. So I don't remember. I know it was all
in the book. Yeah, in the book follows two Tejanos, two kids from Texas. Their families are Mexican from Texas in the 80s. I think during the Reagan era. And yeah, so one of the themes is like classism and colorism, and how like one family comes from a more established multi-generational American household, and the other one is like feels more first generation, and therefore there's a lot of commonalities within them and their families, but there's also a lot of contrasts, and I think that's like a big focal point in it as well, which is a very real feeling that we have a lot in our communities.
And can we know what are you working in at this very moment, or you signed a NDA?
Yeah, there's some NDA signed for sure. I'm doing a Disney series right now that I'm not allowed to talk about too much, but I mean it's kind of known. So there should be some press about that soon. And then I'm casting a biopic about Jenny Rivera with our director Gigi Saúl, who's Mexican. Her family immigrated to Canada, of all places, and now she's like a really, really cool, really awesome director she's had a lot of success in horror, but is also just universally an incredible artist. She's also a voiceover actor, and she's done like a bunch of Angry Birds episodes. So funny, so silly. Just a true multi-hyphenate. But yeah, we're doing that, and then we have a film.
Multi-slashers.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. We have a film with Omar Epps that we're casting right now, called Time Served. It's a Nichols Fellowship Award recipient script. So the Academy already likes it. We just need to make sure we cast it well. and a number of other things. I mean, I can go on forever, but
because you're with ABL, right? With your partnership with Natalie Ballesteros, ABL, and Michelle Smith, right?
Michelle Adams. Yeah. So I'm one of 3 casting directors. We have essentially an acronym for our last names. A is for Michelle Adams, B is for Natalie Ballesteros, and the L is for Alan Luna. We partnered up together last summer because Natalie Ballesteros was the director of talent and casting at CBS. But prior to that, her and I worked together for a couple of years. And she joined me and Michelle, who, me and her partnered up before the pandemic. We worked on Selena, the series, together for Netflix. We did like a Lifetime movie and a couple of other things, and then when the pandemic started, me and Michelle decided to partner up, just go really hard on doing what we love to do, but together. I mean, I think when you work in casting, as an independent casting director, you're able to work on a number of projects. You're not exclusive to anybody, to any network or any studio. So having a partner to do multiple things with is very resourceful. It's also very fun. So Michelle and I have been at it since before the pandemic, and then Natalie joined us last year.
Natalie was invited here in May for the Women's Month with Angelica Maria, I remember. It was great. I just want to give a quick commercial on how important it is to get to know the person who's sitting next to you with Alan. So last November, I had TJ Storm, in case you don't know him. He's one of the top 3 most motion caption actors in the country. He's Godzilla, he's Darth Vader, he is Predator, he's a bunch of things. So I have him here. I had a TJ, he's from Hawaii. Then I had a Russian dancer who's amazing, and she's a choreographer as well, Olga Sokolova. And then I had at the time a producer who was, I think he was with Warner Brothers at the time. I don't remember.
Miguel? Yeah, he was working for Warner Brothers Discovery's Stage 13.
At the end, so Miguel Bird.
Yeah.
And then I had, gosh, I don't remember. Oh, and a German photographer. So a bunch of diversity here. So they met, so I encourage you guys to do something together and meet and collaborate. It will be fantastic. You allow me to exchange your emails with one another. So then TJ mentions that the next day, which is, by the way, happening tomorrow as well, is going to have open house, free open house for people to take classes for motion capture. So I'll leave the information that you can see it in Actor/. This happened as well last year. And then he told us about what he does, how he learned his motion captures. Of course, he's a badass actor. He kicked ass and he does every single martial art that you can possibly imagine. And then Miguel says, okay, I'm going to come tomorrow to your open house. He comes there, and Alan phones Miguel and says, hey, we're casting this project for Disney, and we need actors who could be monsters and who could be mummies and who could be anything. And we've been having a hard time finding an actor like that. And Miguel said, I have tons right in front of me. I'm at this park, and the master of all of them is TJ. So next thing we know, they cast TJ, and TJ writes me in January. You want to talk about
We
it?
ended up casting. Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, I think there's some great importance, and a lot of wonderful relationships that are made in events like these. Essentially, I think community is like the name of the game. It's such a small industry. It's so big, but also so small, and you just never know who the person next to you is. You never know who they are, right? It's so wonderful. But so Miguel's a good friend of mine. I adore him. And I was casting the sequel to a Disney branded television movie for Disney Channel and Disney Plus called Under Wraps 2. And so Under Wraps is like Disney Channel's first ever original movie from like 1997. Now there's like 150. But they did a remake, and we cast a remake like a couple. And the difference is that the first Under Wraps had like 100% white cast, and the remake was like mostly diverse, which I loved. Naturally, we're finding the best actors for these roles. But for the sequel, we had this new. The movie is about a mummy who comes back to life, and the kids have to save the day and make sure that he, goes back to the museum before, the moon like hits a certain angle. You know how Disney Channel movies are. And so for the second one, the villain was this mummy who. It's really like he really needed to embody a variety of just a variety of different like energies, I guess, right? It has to be funny while also being very scary in like a Disney brand type of content, while also not saying a single word. So it's creature work essentially. But Miguel and I, we were chatting, and he was like, I'm doing this panel. Actor/, there's this guy, TJ, you should meet him. And he sent me his stuff, and I was like, holy crap, this is perfect timing. Because we've been auditioning like hundreds of actors, and, this is a very hard thing to do. So he came in and auditioned, and it was, what I can say his audition was, TJ's audition was absolutely glorious. I mean, he played this mummy. I've never seen anything like it, but he auditioned as a mummy. And it was the most wonderful audition I've ever seen. It was just, you can tell this guy, he's played Godzilla, he's played, Predator, he's played Iron Man, Colossus, and Deadpool. And you can just tell, like, this person's body of work and preparation is exceptional. And yeah, we ended up casting him a couple weeks later. He's our lead antagonist of the movie, Under Wraps 2.
And thank you for sharing that. And by the way, I met TJ exactly the same way I met Hansa. We started following each other, and then on social media, and we're like, who's this? Who's this? Interesting person, yeah, okay, I want it as a follower or not. And just the same way I met EJ like that, because I promoted his classes that I think are fantastic. He normally gives me discounts for the fellow slashers. He was so generous in my last contest that I did with Actor Slash for anecdotes. I have 2 winners here, Christina and Mario as well, and TJ gave him a whole class, free class for 2 days to Mario Corona, but they have won that before, and ABL also. Have done, and not only with actors, if you want to chip in with something else, what is that fantastic thing that an actor does that you want to keep casting them or bringing them in for casting? Or how do you select, for instance, Diana, right? Anyone? Do you have the mic? Sorry.
Deanna specifically for East Side Sushi, I was the casting director because I did everything on my film. So, you know, I wrote the script. The script was written for a 35-year-old single mother. And so Deanna walks in and she was 22 at the time. So I'm thinking, okay, she's way too thin because this character, she sells fruit. She's a fruit vendor, and a lot of them, they're like, you know, they're very strong women that are like lifting these boxes of oranges and fruit, and so they're, you know, strong and they're in the sun all day, so that, you know, their skin is nice and brown, and she was very pale and very thin and very young. So she walks in like, all right, I'm just going to be polite. I'll let her just do the page, and then thank you very much. But she comes in.
You wanted the stereotype of the what we think of a Latino, more
somebody
tan,
real, yeah.
and she's very light,
Very light.
like olive, and yeah.
She was too pretty. I just want to when I
And
cast.
tall, slim.
Yeah, and I want characters that look a little bit more real. So, all right, so she does the first page and she's great. I'm like, oh my god! But she was the first person that when she read the dialogue back to me, it was how I wrote it. And I had prior to her, I probably saw maybe 50 other actresses come through, and she was the first one that sort of nailed that inflection. I was like, wow, that was so nice. And I was like, all right, let's go. And did you memorize the second page? She's like, yeah, let's go to that. I was like, oh man, she's great. And then they're like,
you're totally different than what I'm doing, but you're great.
she's great. And I was like, you're not the right person, but your acting is so fantastic. And then, so the third scene I reserved for anybody who just nailed it. Anybody who I thought was it would go on to the third page. It's a very emotional scene where she quits, and she's just, and she just nailed it. And my producer next to me was crying during the audition. I was like, hold it together. I was like, come on. But she did, and so Deanna leaves. The whole weekend, I'm like, she is the right actor. She is a great actress. And what you want as a writer is any person that's going to take like my horrible writing and just escalate it and make it sound real. And Deanna and any great actor can do that. They can take a sloppy, I'm being very honest, they can take a sloppy script and they could read it and it will sound real. And that's what I was looking for, and that was Deanna. And so I cast her, and I had to modify the script. So her daughter was going to be, I think, like 15 or so, and so I had to cast somebody who was 8 years old to be her daughter. So I had to make, we spray tan. She gained about 15 pounds for the role too. She was just too thin, and she showed up on the first
The little
day.
girl or Diana?
No, Deanna.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Girl, you have to eat.
But she looked the part, and she just nailed it. But
Plus, she had to learn how to chop and cook.
she had to learn how to chop, and that's another sign of a good actor. It's like, I told her the lead is going to be very good with their hands as far as with a knife. They're going to chop fast because they've been working in the food industry in restaurants for years. But I told her it's okay, you don't need to learn how to chop because I work in visual effects, so we were going to shoot her hands. We're going to shoot a stunt double's hands, chopping really fast. And then you do what's called a takeover in visual effects. You pan up, and it's the actress. So we were planning on doing that. She's like, okay. And so she had about a month with the script. And she was in Mexico City at the time. And she's like, I have a video to show you. And she texted me, I'm like, okay, send it. And it was a video of her. She set the camera up, and she had a cucumber. And she's like, 1, 2, 3, just blazing fast. I was like, oh my God, Deanna. I was like, you are this person. You're becoming this character. And we used the one stunt double for one shot, but she embodied that character, and she just went for it, and it made it so much more easy, and it comes across in the screen. It comes across as authentic because she was authentic, and she learned. She took those classes in how to use a knife, and I didn't tell her to. And she took sushi classes, how to make sushi, and but it's that authenticity in an actor is what I'm always looking for.
So this is a great example of that. An actor who can see the breakdown that says that they want someone that she doesn't fit the role. She didn't fit anything. She doesn't look like a character. She's not the age of the character. She took the risk. She applied regardless. She was brought in, and she was bold, and she definitely went for it. She's just like, I'm just gonna memorize everything. So all she had was just to impress you and take risks. So that will be a great advice for an actor to, like, if you think you're right for that character, despite, it's going to be up to the casting director who accept you. But I want to know if you guys had any experience like that. Hamza, for instance, have you ever had an actor or cast someone who made you change your mind, and then you had to go and talk to, because he was the writer / producer / director, so he could make those changes. But maybe, in Alan, maybe you guys as casting directors, you kind of feel that this actor is the right person, is doing everything, but it might not be what the description says. How do you do that, Hamza? Have you had that experience?
What do you mean by what description says?
Like, for instance, the breakdown says, I want someone, like in Anthony's case, I want someone who's 35 and older, that looks like a fruit vendor of the idea that we have. They're like very Mexican, probably a little bit more dark skin, shorter, not that like a model, because Diana totally could be a model. She's super tall, big, amazing. And then she read the breakdown, and she didn't fit the role, but despite that, she applied. She got the opportunity to come and audition, and she booked it, and she made Anthony changed his mind, so he had to rewrite the script and even bring in a younger actor for the daughter. Have you experienced something like that?
Absolutely. I mean, as a casting director, I speak only from my experience. So yeah, absolutely. You know, my job is.
I think you want to bring the mic.
What my goal is to make sure the director fall in love with the actor. You know, and sometimes I know the actor is really good because there's so many different layers, like the layer that they're going to show up on set, layers that there's so many things going on that for me is I don't want to recast, you know, and that's number one. But again, I want to make sure that you guys fall in love with the actor to the point that it's your guys from Suya, the script, and he's a lot younger than when we cast it from Lebanon, and he's a lot older, but it's perfect, you know, because he carried the movie. Anyone else would not stay 6 years. Anyone else would didn't really bring that freshness of guy just came out of the boat, lost all his family. So it's you have to go to audition and literally. I think by just going into the room, it's your job just to close the deal. But sometimes you will go in and trying to connect with the person, right? But you have no idea what they're gonna to do the homework. For example, the cucumber. I didn't know that she went to classes for all that stuff. I mean, like, I'm thinking, somebody asked me what to do. I'm like, YouTube. YouTube the show. Like, just go all day or watch it all day and the practice because job. I honestly am very happy right now because I just got like residual from a job that a long time ago for voiceover. I'm like, I can come and hang out with you guys. I can go to all the places. I don't have to like worry about where's all the money coming in. So it's just such a rewarding job for as an actor, casting director, whatever. So I know when I act, it's such a great feeling to be on set. So and the other people who are bigger role. So I invite you to do whatever it takes to get on set if you really want it. And it doesn't take much really if you like I can if you go to a role about Caucasian or blonde eyes and stuff like this. I mean, if I can get into the audition, I might be able to get a little bit shown that I'm a good actor, and that's just enough to get me a role.
Right. And how about you, Susana? You want to talk about the process on who is that? What is that thing that an actor do that you will fall in love to the point that you could even change the script? I think Christina was one of those cases, like the age of the two characters. There's a gap right there.
Yeah, I think for me, the very first thing is, for me to even begin thinking about an actor is the actor who comes to the casting call ready to do what you ask them to do. And in the case, for example, for Honolulu Baby, for this musical that we just did, there have been a few people who had come in. Some were ready, most were not. So if I ask, can you sing, for example, excuse me, can you sing? They would come out with Adele, or can you do musical theater? And whatever, anything but what I had asked them to do, or they would begin to hesitate. In this case, Christina walked in, and she was absolutely not what I was looking for. She's. I was looking for someone much older, in their mid to late 40s, brunette, much more. I suppose you're stereotypical Latina, and that's not what I got. I actually got sort of a young Barbra Streisand when she came in, and I asked her, can you do, she did both Spanish and English, which I thought was fabulous, so she came ready to show what she could do. And when I asked her, can you do musical theater, she didn't say, give me a minute. She didn't say, hold on, let me sing Adele. She broke off with a piece from classic musical theater, and she was absolutely fantastic. And so I knew from that moment forward, she's mine. There was someone else who wanted her, and she said, I called dibs. I said, absolutely not, too late. And so she came on to the project, and I think over the years I have found that the best actors are the ones that collaborate with the director, with the writer. In this case, I'm both, to make the story what it really needs to be. As a writer and a director, you have an idea for the story, but the story doesn't really come to its full body until the actors come in. So I'm always blown away by actors who take on that challenge and are able to collaborate and think on the scene and explore the possibilities of a particular character beyond what might be on the page or what I might have envisioned for it as a director.
That's fantastic. Congratulations, Chris.
Yeah.
I love her. I didn't even know she sang, and I was like, whoa.
She was brilliant, Castor.
Alan, you want to tell us what is that great thing Because I'm sure you've been doing this also for a long time, so probably you have a roster of actors who you bring in all the time, or you call, and then you'll probably have another section of new actors and new discoveries. What is that thing that amazes you, that you love the professionalism, not only in the performance, but also in the casting process, like self-tapes, or when they show up in the room? What is that advice that you can use?
Yeah, well, I think there's every role and every project that I ever work on is specific to its own, and there's really no like playbook and like this is how, this is what I'm looking for, this is what we're looking for. It's a collaboration. It's so many different people making decisions. So I think it's so important for people to know. But I think just like Anthony mentioned earlier, there was something that, Anthony, what did you say earlier? It was something about your casting process, how someone came in and blew you away with their originality. It's for every project. I think it's very hard for people to really know what they're looking for until they find it. I think when I read a script, when I'm meeting for a new show or a film or project in animation, I do a lot of research to see who I think is going to be good for this. And even as I'm reading it, I try to think of my prototypes, think of my ideas. Whether it's like naming people depending on the budget, or whether it's actors that I've seen audition over the years that I know can play this character really well. But along the process, so many different things shape this film or shape this project in a way that makes it special. So it's very difficult, the whole casting process, because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen all the time. There's, depending on the project, like, if it's like, if we have a major studio project, there's a studio, there's producers, there's a film director. If it's a TV show, we have the showrunner, and we have some of the people at the network or the streamer, and then like the production company. If it's an indie, it's mostly just a financier and or the director or both. So the process is always different, but I think our job is really to be the best possible matchmakers, to swing for, to try to get actors that sometimes may seem like it's a like a far out reach. But like even on short films, I do a lot of short films every year, because I think it's a really good way for people to kind of show their proof of concept. I know I have friends who are executives at Blumhouse, and they look at a lot of like horror short films and make it through the film festival circuit, and they turn those they scale them into full feature films sometimes, or short stories. But even in that process for a project like that, you can get an actor that normally gets paid like a lot of money to do it for $211 a day, whatever the SAG scale is for that type of project. So every project is different. I think, at the end of the day, it's my goal to really help the director manifest their vision, Susanna's vision, Anthony's vision, and make sure that their voice is heard, because it's their baby. But actors do a great job at coming in and doing that with their performance, and that's really, I think, something that all of you have mentioned is like preparation. When someone comes in and is like really prepared and has done research on the director, on their previous films, you can just really, really tell when someone dug deep into not only this world and this universe and this character, but also like the filmmakers behind it. If it's like a season 3 television show, to watch some episodes in season 1, season 2, or at least the last few, so you can get a sense of like what the tone is in the show. It's the same thing with films, even though maybe it's somebody's like, what if it's like Anthony's 3rd feature? You should do research on Anthony's 1st and 2nd feature to see what type of what his style of directing and writing is. So yeah, preparation is really the ultimate thing I think that actors really should try to focus on. And I know also it's so difficult to tell some before the pandemic to tell someone to travel. I've had people drive like 5 hours for an audition. It pains me because they may not get it. It's part of the process where I'm like, how do we like make this more simple? But there's a lot of pros and cons in doing self-tape versus an in-person audition.
But
We're just going on a rant here.
sorry to interrupt, I mean, they drove so many hours to get there, they might not get it, but you already sold them. That for us, I mean, all the actors who participated in the contest for the anecdote, you only pick one, but you already sold the other ones. And for me as an actor, I think that's a great plus, right? You might keep him on your mind for something in the future.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then, I think we just have to like trust the process, whether you're an actor, whether you're a filmmaker or a casting director. I think, the process is always different, but I think it always works out for the best.
So now let's talk about the opposite. What are those things that actors should not be doing? Like, we know that you should be filming like this, and not like this, for your self-tapes. You should have a flat background, nothing that gets the attention, not too many props, right? And normally it's like a medium shot from up to here. Some actors like to have 2 takes in a separate, for self-tapes, I mean, to have 2 takes or one on a separate video, and then the slate in a different one before or after. Everybody has to, probably will tell us in a moment what are your preferences when we send you an audition. But what are those things that we make a lot of mistakes? Like, I'm just going to give you an example. Sometimes when I do these events with Actors Slash, they just send me pictures and they have no names. Of course, it's a panel of 4 people, so it will be very easy by looking at the picture who it is. I will recognize them. But I have spoken with different casting directors who said that when an actor sends their material, but they don't title them, they don't title the self-tape, and they don't title the picture, they have no idea who they are, because normally they will download everything on a database, and then when they have the time, they will sort and go through everything, right, one by one. So if you don't have any names on the title of the document, you more than likely they're not going to have a way to find you, unless they go specifically. They're not going to go back to the email, that's for sure. So Hamza, what is that thing that actors should not be doing when they do casting, or when they do when they come into the office? Self-tapes. What would you recommend that the fellow actors don't do? What is that mistake that we keep doing and messing up?
Well, I missed the in-person casting. One thing I did miss was the smell. I mean, cologne.
Oh, really? So you don't mind if they have?
No, I don't want it. No.
You don't want? I was
No.
going to say, because normally it's forbidden.
It's really like it just takes me out of the whole. I'd rather smell very people, nothing against it, than just smell cologne, because it just takes me out of the my coffee.
So don't come smelling ugly, but don't come smelling beautifully either. Just be.
No, I mean, you can
your
smell whatever you
smell.
want. It just it keeps the cologne and perfume away, you know. If in person, online,
Or self-tapes.
for self-tape, damn, I mean, there's so much, but I think, oh my God, I saw some influencer online, it was like a bunch of followers, and then he has a very important thing to talk, and I want to hear it, and he was just not talking straight to the camera. I just want to punch myself, I'm like, please, I want to see you talking, you know? I think just having a little yellow pink stickers over your lens, it's such a secret. As an actor, I book that all the time. As a casting director, I really need that, because I need to talk to my soul, you know. We gotta make you fall in love with you. These guys gotta fall in love with you. That's my the way I go.
So in a self-tape, you actually want the actor to look at the camera.
I want him to look right in the camera because they'll be talking to me.
Okay, but if they're performing
in person.
No, they're performing for a self-tape. Oh, is that for the slate and for the scenes? Because
Everything,
normally,
everything.
normally what we do, and correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that brings up a very good discussion now. And here we go.
Depending on the casting director, I guess, right?
I think
We're
follow
not allowed to
instructions.
look at the camera
Yeah.
most
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
audition.
Yeah.
Have to look
Follow,
slightly to the
follow,
left
follow
or to the right.
instructions.
That's the
Read
first
the
thing.
breakdown and follow normally casting director will say, look at the camera or look slightly to the left or to the right. So pay attention to that. Now you have two casting directors.
Yeah.
He likes it for you guys to look at the camera and normally
I actually have
you don't,
to
right,
correct
Alan?
exactly what I say, because also some filmmakers already actually have their way of what they want, you know. But yeah,
That's
actually,
true.
we send out, you know, that's what we want from you. But just overall, my point is to connect with the person who's watching, because it's easy just not to look at the camera and not finding. You know, if you fought away, you know, a pandemic and we were all fought away, how can you stand out from the other person? And that's just like any way to connect with the casting directors. That's just like
And do you like the medium shot, like from say
I just
here,
want to. I want
here to here or?
I never really thought about it that way, because I don't want to see the whole body, because I want to see the person's,
Right.
you know, especially they're using like low quality camera or something. When we had the issues with our auditions, well, we fixed it right away because we sent out another note for the next call. It's just people. One thing is that you got a really good actor. We had that in Aladdin actually. Really great actor. They're singing, but behind them, I'm just looking. I'm like, how nice is what's going on with the house? So we had that issue you mentioned. But one issue was lighting, and the lighting was everything. Now on Amazon, I found for myself like there's so many different tools that go on sale, the open boxes. One tool I found that I really like, it's like a thing that is really long, and you just open it up and you just basically hold it. It's like $100, but it's a green screen for yourself.
Yeah,
And-
the backdrops, mine was like
Yeah.
$80.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it
open
came
and
three
close.
different colors.
Yeah, so whatever that, it just shows that you're a little bit, you know, and there's lighting for like $20 or something with a soft light in it. And then, you know, those things, it's for the online audition, but I'm really hoping that, right now, we're still doing online auditions, a lot of people are, or the casting director, because that's what the studio wants, but I'm hoping that life is changing, we're going back to normal, and then, you know, so that probably gonna change, but I don't think it's gonna change forever. I think that's something to also catch on, because now they see more actors, more options, which is great. You can do more opportunities, you know, so all over the world. And that's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, oh, you go to Hollywood to act. You know, that doesn't make sense. You know, Hollywood should come to you.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
We'll get into questions in a moment, sorry. So Susana, did the camera die or what? My camera died, no? I was like, thank you, Nestor. So, you want to give some examples of things that the other actors who auditioned for you didn't get it? I know Christina was fantastic, but maybe you have something to share from actors that you were like, good Lord, no, you're not ready. Because that's another important thing. Opportunities come, you have to be ready for when the opportunity comes. Don't mess up.
Yeah, so that's extremely important, being ready. And being ready can be a lot of things, right? It can be, as Vanje said, you know, researching the director, researching the previous work. But, you know, it's just as easy being on time, right? Being ready, you know, I would say clean face, that's important. You know, we want to see your face. So a clean face, hair away from the face unless you're asked to put it down. But the most important thing to me is I want to see, you know, what's going on with your face. And some of the things that we saw that wonderful afternoon where I found Christina was that, you know, someone was extremely late. The hair was all over the face. This one had everything going on. The hair was all over the face. Couldn't think of a piece to use for auditioning. So started trying to think on the spot what they were going to do, what they were going to sing when they were asked to sing. And then another thing was, announcing to everyone that she was there to win an Oscar, and I'll never forget it. And I thought, not like this, not like this, you won't.
In a theater
Yeah,
play.
right. And so it just, there were quite a few that were really good, and they didn't inspire me in any way, so that there wasn't necessarily anything wrong with those auditions. But the ones that stick out to me and the ones that I'm going to remember are the ones where the actor was not ready. They talked too much. They said all the things that I could absolutely do in maybe 5 minutes, but they weren't doing the thing that they were there to do. They could do everything else, but not the one thing that they were called to do. And so that was disappointing and embarrassing, I think, for them. It was shameful because you just want to say you're wasting everyone's time and your own.
You
So-
missed a great opportunity. to
And you miss a
shine.
great opportunity, exactly,
Yeah.
and to collaborate with people in possible future projects.
So also basically, clear face and everything, but you have to look like the picture you submitted, right? Because I'm sure you guys have a lot of things that they send their picture or their reel and they look nothing like it and they change their color, the hair or whatever. Does that
another
happen?
thing. Yes. So that was another thing. The photographs that I collected at the end were glamour shots. I wasn't looking for that. And they look completely different from the person who had come to audition. I would have never been able to pick them out of work, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen that happen multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's just like you're not selling yourself right at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
You know.
And
Because like that's what a photo is. It's like your headshot is like in a way a form of your resume. So yeah, if you could look like yourself, that'd be ideal.
does it happen to you guys that it's like Joey Tribbiani that they write a whole resume and they speak French and do all these things and when it's time to do audition, no. Well, yeah, my family was French but they never spoke to me in French.
Yeah, I would, like, on the casting notice, I would ask for someone who's Japanese, who speaks Japanese. But I would get Koreans, Thai, which was kind of,
The Latinos happen that too as well.
yeah, I was looking for Latina, and I would have Italians, and it's slightly offensive, but I get it. It's like, well, maybe there's another role for this person if they come and audition, but.
So you are open, like let's just say authentic Mexican, authentic Japanese?
No, if it has to be authentic, then respect that. And
Okay.
don't come into an audition if they're looking for an authentic Mexican. Don't come in and audition for that if you're not Mexican. Age, it's fine, totally
Japanese.
flexible. But at your point about being on time, I remember Tom Hanks gave, like at the Oscars, he gave his little speech, and he said, "You show up and you are on time." And it's just, that's why that guy's working consistently. It's just, you have to be professional, you have to be on time. And one point that Alan made about this person who came, from 4 or 5 hours away, you do think about that. You do think about, like, okay, this guy or girl or whoever made they went the extra mile to get here. And you think about that, and you're like, well, maybe there's something else for them, because I did have somebody, and actually the person who got the lead role as the chef, he came in a chef's outfit to audition. I was like, that's kind of cool. So I would say, like, if you're going to audition as a police officer, you can find a police officer's uniform, wear it. If the scene takes place in a kitchen, just do it in the kitchen. Just do these little tricks that just helps the casting director
Envision you as a role.
envision you in that role. So that helps quite a bit. And I did, and your point about don'ts. So I had another actor, he made it to the second round, and we were considering him, and then I asked him to do a third audition for me over the phone. I wanted to hear his voice only, and he was a little annoyed. He's like, Okay, another audition. You could tell that he was just annoyed that he had to do this again. And me and my producer, we were on the call
Candy
together.
girls, what?
Yeah, we were like, okay, if he's complaining right now to get the role, he's gonna complain during the whole shoot. So just be cordial, be happy. Just don't make life complicated if you're the actor.
Hide your emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you want to go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah, I think that also falls into like a different category too, where it's like someone's just being a little bit entitled. And that's really difficult because people don't want to, we're spending more time when you're on set as like, not me and Hamza, but like Anthony and Susanna are on set with actors for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hours. They're more on set with them than with their family. So they want to make sure that the person that they're working with is going to be a really good collaborator, not someone who's going to like drag their feet into every room. And that's something that, from the casting perspective, we really have to keep in mind as well. That's something that you can tell when you're inside the audition room versus when you're doing self-tapes, which is like one of the cons, right? Because there's pros and cons to having a bunch of self-tape versus in person. It makes things so, it's kind of crazy where we are right now. Here I am via Zoom because I may have COVID, right? It's just our world right now. But I think I wanted to add on to your first topic here, Vange, about like actors when they slate. It's important to shoot your introduction facing the camera, like how I am right now facing the camera. Name, height, location. Oh, always, follow instructions. That's the most important thing. Because, like, for example, Hamza right now has a totally different, he wants different things than I want. And so, but Hamza's going to tell you, this is what I want, do this, deliver this, and this is how, because that's ultimately how he wants to present his product, his auditions to his director or his producers. Same thing goes for me. So follow the instructions always. Name, height, location, slate into the camera. Sometimes people want a full body shot, and sometimes people want just like a frame of like the bottom of the chest to right here. Usually they're laid out, in the instructions. Like you mentioned earlier, Vange, well lit, indoors, in front of a solid background, ideally. My thinking is via self-tapes, if you don't have that, then it's okay, because I'm not gonna rule you out because you don't have, a solid background, like you have, 2 different colors in your back. I'm not gonna rule you out. What I care about is your performance. But still, if you can, that's ideal. Well lit, indoors, background. Make sure we're able to see you well. The camera should be focused on you well. It should be eye level. I don't know if you guys remember being in person in auditions because it's been so long, but when you're in an audition, the camera is traditionally like at the height of your eyeballs, and then 10 feet away. That's because that's like something that I don't even understand completely myself because I'm not a cinematographer, but that's just like the way we do it. So eye level if you can. Some tripods can't go that high if you're way taller than me. I'm 5'7", so I have no issue with any tripod. All tripods are my height. Be open to the lens as much as possible. We want to see you, and then looking slightly off camera. I think is like for me. Like this is how I would slate, and then this is how I would audition with my reader, looking at my reader and connecting with my reader, and really feeling a connection with this other person that's delivering lines that are ultimately going to lead to me being mad or sad or angry or happy or giving some sort of emotion to that.
So for the slate, you want them looking at the camera, but for the scene, sliding to the left and looking at the reader.
Left or right? Left or right, whichever
Right or
works.
left, exactly,
Yeah.
but not at the camera. And Hams is the opposite. Both of you want looking at the camera, but not.
He said also reader, which is very, very important. With my initial thing, there was no reader.
I think it's like whatever the instructions are, right?
Instructions.
And then also like please try to be off book. It's very unfortunate sometimes. Let's say it's Friday night and I have a role that shoots on like Tuesday or Monday for a show. I'm going to be casting something right now and it sucks, and I'm probably going to work through the weekend and try to book you through the weekend. sometimes we're just given that. That's just the hand that was dealt to me, and therefore I'm just trying to do my job, and that's just one of the unfortunate circumstances sometimes that we deal with. So it's not because we hate you actors, it's because there are some other, entities that are our bosses that are requiring us to do this. We don't want to work through the weekend. We don't want to hire someone, for the next day, or like we really don't want you to audition and memorize something that's due the very next day. We really don't. We want to give I think, per page, a day per page. So if I have a 2-page scene, 2 days. 3-page scene, 3 days. It's just like the considerate thing to do, but it's not always like that. But if you can, try your best to be off book, and if not, there's a difference between me having my sides like this versus me trying to memorize or at least being character looking down my sides. It's just that feeling okay, he's connecting with these papers that he clearly is not off book, but he's still feeling this role.
So it's okay to read with your script in your hand, as long as you're not like this, as you said, but
yeah,
you can
and showing us,
performing
there's a proper way to not be memorized, and then there's maybe a way that is unimpressive, and at that point, I think you should ask yourself am I giving off a certain type of impression right here, right now, that is going to maybe have a long-lasting effect that isn't going to be positive, right? Because auditions sometimes are just impressions. Just like I think it was Susanna, you said this. When someone comes in, you may be auditioning for something, and that role naturally isn't for you, but you may be right for something else, and this is an opportunity for you to show us that next thing is for you. These auditions, every audition it holds a long-lasting impression on us. And Ranjit, admittedly, I have a list of actors. I do have some lists of actors where I'm so blown away by them for something else that they never booked, but I want to bring them back because I trust them based off that audition. And it's a shame that they weren't able to get that role, but I want to bring them back for other things to give them the opportunity because we've developed that trust without them even knowing. They don't know. But they just did so well for a role that they weren't right for that I want to give them another chance. So keep that in mind, all of that. I know it's just a rant, but those are things that I wanted to bring
No,
up.
but that's true. And also your reader, very important, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hamza, and you guys. If your reader's going to be standing next to the camera, make sure you have the little microphone, lavalier, because then otherwise you guys going to hear the reader more than the actor itself. So be careful with that, or both have a lavalier, or put a piece of paper next to the camera and have your reader on the left, so they don't take over the whole volume, right? You want to add something, Hamza?
Yeah, I want to share experience because that can help some people because there are websites where they can help you find readers and stuff like this, but I think it's very important to find people that you connect with, you trust, that you can read for them and they can read for you. I'm not going to read with my brother, if I have an audition, he doesn't give a shit.
Well, I use my husband.
Yeah.
He's not an actor,
No,
he's outside.
some people do. Some don't take me wrong. I don't use anybody I'm not comfortable. It's just that's me. So some people don't, but do find people that in social media you can see the weird people, so you can stay away from them. But the reason I say that because there is an audition where the guy in the movie is showing tonight, and Joel Jasser, and I knew this guy because he came here, and I knew he's a very good actor. He came to meet me, but one thing is he's a great actor in Lebanon. He's already a young kid. He was doing great things. He's on TV all the time. And I knew he was going to be great for the role, but it would be really hard to bring him here. There's an Owen visa. There's stop texting me, thing my phone. But there was, if I do bring him here, it's going to change my casting life and his, and it's going to actually open up what I'm trying to do, to more to people. So the only way I was able to do that, to make the director actually close the deal, because he was going to stay away from that headache, to bring somebody from other country, is to ask, the other friend of mine who also auditioned, she's a movie star there, to go to his house and audition together. The director did not ask for this. I just give it to him, like, hey, listen, you might fire me, but I did my thing, you know? I
And
did
it
my-
worked.
It not only worked, he was crying.
That's what
Like,
it
if he was like, he wrote this damn thing, he wrote it, like, he wrote the movie. If you know, I have two people here that saw the movie, it was a great movie. And he needed to see Jasser alive, and all these people I'm showing them, they're great actors, nothing wrong with them, but one thing they were missing is the feeling of, because I came to America in 1998, so that feeling, I know, I need that feeling, like you came to America.
To the U.S.
Yeah.
We call it United
Yeah.
States.
So I needed that feeling. If I don't have it in the movies, you know, how are they gonna realize who cast the movie? You know, when you watch the HBO stuff like this, something you love, who cast this? You wait, you're waiting for who's cast this. And that's very important for us, for you too, to know, like.
To read at the end of every project,
Well, I mean,
who
just
cast it.
connect with someone. No,
Cast
no,
the
no,
guy?
no. No, it's not about me. It's not
I
about,
do.
It's about the actors. Like, how can you close the deal with something like this? You really connect with other actors that you know. You know, over the pandemic, we had a clubhouse. A lot of actors connect together. But just connect with other actors that both of you can work off each other's. And you know, every audition is going to be. You can get as many auditions as you want. I think, you know, depends if you're union or non-union. I think non-union did a lot of them, but and also it just how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be in this freaking business? You know, that's my thing.
You know, you raised a good point about communities. That's why I was saying, meet the person who's sitting next to you. Actor slash, for those who came late, Vanje Tapia. I'm an actor slash producer, and I'm the founder of Actor Slash. And Actor Slash is all about collaboration. So we have a private group on Facebook, and we also have a small group on WhatsApp, and we help each other with self-tapes. We help each other with, like, sometimes I get a casting that they want me to audition, I do it, and I said, honestly, I don't think I'm the right person for this, but I'm doing it because you asked me. Thank you so much. But in case you want more people, here are some fellow actresses who can, in my opinion, will do better. Sometimes depends if I have that trust with the casting, I will do it and I say it. But I have many friends who help me do self-tapes, including my husband, depends on what. So if you guys want to join, really follow Actor Slash, and also find the Actor Slash private group on Facebook. And every time you need a self-tape in a partner, we are there for that, precisely. And oh my God. So we're gonna move to questions with the public, but before we do that, I want to know if you have something else to add, please. Also, where can they find you? And Susana, then you, because I wanted to talk about that beautiful thing that you have right there.
Something to add, we'll go back to the tapes. It's always good to have a reel. I think, and I'm sure, you know, Alan and you both get in the first 5 or 10 seconds of somebody's reel, you know if they're good, if they've got it. So, and people have sent me links to their reel asking for my advice, like how would I put this together. Always put your best stuff first. But whatever that is, put it first, because a lot of people aren't going to wait 45 seconds to watch that really good performance later. Put it first. Because oftentimes, and I'm telling you, I do this too, it's like I'll just watch, you know, the first 30 seconds, okay, they got it. You know, don't need to watch the whole 4 minutes of a reel. And the angle, I'll just talk about that for a second. If you want to be more cinematic, you know, on the iPhone, I think it's like ×3 or something, that lens, if you have that option. Just shoot it with a long lens. You have to put the camera further away from you, but it just gives a little bit more cinematic feel. And yes, for sure, like, you know, introduce yourself and then turn a little bit off camera and read. And I will say, the person you're reading with, it can be distracting, because I have had people, like, you can tell it's their mother or something in the background, and they're just not into it, and it really just, it pulls the whole performance down. So just try to find somebody to read with that has some energy, some acting skills in their voice, I guess. It helps.
Thank you for saying that. Normally, I was told by my agents, my theatrical agents, that my demo shouldn't exceed more than 1 minute for theatrical, because they're only going to see the first 5 seconds. And if they like it, they might go through all 40 seconds, 50, rarely 60. So don't make reels longer than a minute. For commercial, for theatrical, for hosting, I mean, I have to have for dubbing, like one of each. Don't mix them. Am I
Yeah.
right? What is your preference, Alan?
Well, my thinking, I mean, just like you guys, I mean, there's a couple of things. Oh my God, there's so much to say. Sometimes I get 5,000 submissions for one role. I'm not going to watch every single reel. For everyone here, if everyone here has TikTok or Instagram or whatever, how long do you spend before you keep scrolling on a TikTok?
3 seconds, if they
Right?
get your attention,
Yeah.
right?
If you really like it or not, like, you know, it's one of those things. That's just the way like our capacity of our brain like allows us to be in the moment. But you know, I think the question too is for actors is like, why does it take you more than 1 minute to convince someone that you should come in and audition? It shouldn't. You should have like your very first scene, that should be like the one that grabs us. Yeah, and it's hard. Like I said, sometimes we, like literally, I remember one time casting a role that had 5,500 submissions of really, really good actors, and I just like, I couldn't get through all of them. It was just way too much. I can't watch every single one of these reels, especially from the beginning to the end. But yeah, you should allow yourself 1 minute to convince someone, take a chance on me to audition for you. And I think that's really it. But yeah, if you have a comedy reel, keep that separate than your drama reel. Because if I'm doing a comedy show, I don't really care too much about your dramatic stuff from Blumhouse. You know, for my like, you know, sitcom, you know, on like Channel 2 on CBS, I don't care about how, you know, you were on the phone with someone on a Blumhouse movie and got slashed. Like, that's not going to do it for me for this. So yeah, it's good to keep it separate. Comedy and drama if you have it. And if you don't have a reel, you don't have the work to really, you know, showcase your talent, it's fine. That's okay. Everyone starts off like that. But that should be your, like, one of your top goals is finding collaborations in order for you to have material to create a reel. Everyone's in different stages of their career. No one, you know, we're not really here to compete with each other. We're here to uplift each other. There's going to be a lot of individuals, a lot of companies that can help you get a reel. So, yeah, just keep all that in mind.
Alan, before I go back this side, is there a place where people can follow you? Or you don't like to be followed? ABL Casting?
Yeah, well, yeah, we have our company Instagram, ABL Casting. Adams, like I said, was Luna Casting, and then my Instagram has just become like a personal work one as well. It's MR, like Mr. Alan Luna.
But it's
that's my
private
Instagram.
or it's public?
It's public. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't have any private stuff. My private stuff is like, you know, my personal email address and my phone calls with my mom. That's my.
That's not gonna give you guys. Okay, so we're gonna go with Q&As, but so stay tuned. Anthony, where can people find you?
Yeah,
Where
I'm
can they
not
follow
huge
your-
on social. I used to be, and then I just took
Maybe a
break.
website?
No, that's
IMDb?
been, well, Facebook, I guess, you know, Anthony Lucero, I think that's Lucero.
Is it private
Anthony.
or
No,
public?
it's public, but just add me as a friend and I'll add you. I have an Instagram, but it's personal. It's mostly for families. I share my son's pictures on
Right.
there and things like that. But, yeah, I don't know. I dropped Twitter and I just, was trying to downsize my social existence. Yeah, but, Facebook, yeah.
Okay, great. Dan, Susanna has a great present and something to show us before she tells us where can we find you. You want to tell us what is that, rather?
Okay, so a little bit for those of you who are writers as well. How many of you are also into writing
Or aspiring
or aspiring
to write it
writers?
like me?
So I'm in the middle of a wonderful project at the moment. This is my novel, which came out in 2020. Thank you.
Till we're fish.
It's called Until We're Fish. And it was the gold medal winner for the International Latino Book Awards for Best Historical Fiction, an honor I share with Gabriel Garcia Marquez,
Keep showing up.
Vargas
Oh,
Llosa, and Isabel Allende.
wow.
And And
I
it
need
was
a signed
also,
copy. I need a signed copy.
I want to make sure she gives me one for you.
and it was also winner of the Nautilus Book Award, and I don't remember all the names, but I know I share it with the Dalai Lama, so that was really amazing to me. It's for most inspirational novels or stories that can change the world. And this is a novel that takes place in Cuba. It begins in 1959 and goes all the way to 1995, and it follows a sort of a love triangle. A young woman named Maria and her two love interests, Elio and Pepe, and the kinds of struggles that they come up against during the Cuban Revolution of 1959. There have been other revolutions. That's why I said 1959.
How can we get this book?
And the book is available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, anywhere where books are sold. And the wonderful thing about it, okay, is that I have finished the second draft of the screenplay, and which is to be directed by a wonderful Cuban-American director, Michelle Salcedo, known for Piel Canela, or Cinnamon Skin, also Woman of the House, and she recently has a 3-film deal. The first one she just completed in Serbia.
Wow.
So we're in the middle of working on this, and like I said, I have 2 drafts, and happy to answer any questions at the end that you have in terms of and I have a handout.
Are you going to be
Adaptation.
giving us some, okay, wait, before, I'm sorry guys, I have priorities here, seniority. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sign and dedicated, would that be
Sure,
okay?
sure.
Now, do you have any extras that you probably want to give to one of our?
I'll buy it. I don't want it for free. I want it
Okay,
to buy it
but
for
this,
free.
but this one is signed, but you're right, but send them by it and then, or she can, Alan, we lost you now.
He's
Yeah,
coming, he's
he's back,
coming.
he's back.
I need to go on mute and then I get off video instead.
Okay, so maybe you can buy it and you can mail it.
Yeah.
You
I'll
know,
mail you
with
one.
your.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, this is amazing. And what's that other paper that you have with you?
So the other paper is something that I have put together for those of you who are interested in novel to screen adaptations, and sort of the do's and don'ts, and what I have learned in the process. There are 2 completely different genres. And
She has
so-
a bunch of copies, guys, so you
Yes.
definitely should come and get
Oh,
one.
no.
Wow.
That's amazing. Okay, where can we learn about you? Where can we follow you, find you?
So,
Website, website?
yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I have not abandoned Twitter, but I no longer tweet. So I'm on Twitter as well. I'm on Instagram, both Susanna, at Susanna Drissi, DRISSI. I'm also on Facebook, and you can also find me and reach me. I'm also a professor at UCLA, so you can also go through the UCLA faculty list, and you can find me there as well.
Thank you so much. Oh, I can't wait to read your book. I love novels. How about you, Hamza?
I love the
The title.
Thank you.
It's just you can read it. You can already. I don't have to read it. I'm done.
You're done.
All right, we're good. Like how the title is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Title.
it already captured you,
It's
huh?
everything.
Yeah,
It's everything.
congratulations.
I do want
Thank
to
you.
read it. So, Hamza, how about you? You want to tell us
Yeah,
where can we find you?
you can find me at
Four
Arabic-
different, all of them I want to hear.
I mean, all of them, except the one I'm not supposed to say. But no, Arab American Casting or MiddleEasternActors.com. They're both the same thing, or MensaActors.com, the same thing. Arab Actors, all the same website, but it's by Wix and it's free. And I'm not sure how much capability you have inside the app because I'm.
You mean like they can subscribe to the website, Arab Actors?
Yeah, Arab Actor. No, it's the Arab American Casting.
Arab American Casting?
Yeah, that's the name of the company. Like, but I got, I've got a new name that I'm very excited about called MiddleEasternActors.com. That way, it just because Arab American Casting is a cool name, but it's really more. It's more a lot of people. I want more people to join. So that's the name that also is going around. So if the app is by Wix and it's very safe, you can just post your pictures, and if you want your pictures on my website to have it like feature, you you're just gonna have to email us, and it's gonna wait on the waiting list a little bit, but we'll get it up there.
Okay, so that's the casting. How about you? Can they follow you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of my old accounts actually called X Filmmaking, so I'm not sure what's going on with this account, but it's full of followers, so I can't really follow anybody back. But yeah, you can follow me, and Arab American Casting will follow you right back, you know. But yeah, the Twitter thing is just kind of like, I don't like it anymore. So, but I just don't like people getting fired, so I just kind of deleted the app, but I'm still
Oh,
there.
someone bought it.
I made sure, like, I retweeted all your stuff, but yeah, of course, Twitter is good anywhere you want. Arab American Casting has a Twitter account that's been around for 13 years. It's called Arab Actors. So that's the thing.
And how about you, as a person?
Oh, how does someone at CSA? You can find me there as a person. Yeah, you can find me.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
Vanje Tapia, you can read on our posters, in our social media, everybody's tagged, so you can follow them, including the CCM LA. So I'm Vanje Tapia, all my social media are Vanje Tapia, and Actors Slash, all of them are Actors Slash. So 2S. So we're gonna go to Q&As from the public if any of you have questions. Now, before we go to that, we have an Arab casting director and Alan, who does mostly Hispanic, Latinos, but I think you have done not only that. You guys do both? Not only, because that was my question. I'm, for instance, I'm Mexican. My background is Spanish, Portuguese, so I'm very Mediterranean, and I always get dumped, like, just like with Diana, they will never take me as a Mexican stereotype. Would you be open to see someone like me for an Arab character? Everybody's like, oh, you must be cousins of Salma Hayek, and she's Lebanese. And I'm like, thank you, but I don't think so, but okay. Are you open to see, because I think Latinos, many of us have a little background, well, you know, Spain conquered Mexico. Before Spain was Portugal. Before Portugal, they were right across the border.
One thing I forgot to mention, which is horrible of me, the diversity in Hollywood is a thing that I opened up on Clubhouse, and it's like we do like diversity in Hollywood throughout the pandemic and talk about diversity, to learn about diversity, because it's really like it's an unknown thing, you know. It's such a important topic for me, and that I actually bought the website, without diversityhollywood.com. I think Diversity Hollywood, no, diversityhollywood.club or something, but.
But does that mean you're open to see
Oh, yeah,
other nationalities?
I think that's how I describe myself, like, at this point. I just feel like that's my passion, like, you know, like anything I open on Clubhouse and talk about, bless you. It wasn't really interesting until we talk about diversity and we learn about how can we include everybody. Especially for me, like, I have not been included in most of this stuff, you know. Sometimes I'm at the CSA meeting, even though I'm a CSA cast director, I'm just sitting down and like, oh, okay, keep going, next. I'm like, yeah, but I'm here too. So it's not being included. It's very hard for me not to see people are not included in things. But at the same time, you're welcome to join my website. But if
And then we fill up our information and we can say how we look.
Yeah, you're welcome to join. I want the world to join.
Like a database.
Yeah, database, and it just makes my work a lot easier, and but it makes it a lot easier. Because when Alan would know, like, we have to go all over all platforms. I like to use my platform first, like the executive platform. So you're all welcome to join, but at the end of the day, I don't know when I'm going to boot up tomorrow.
Right. Alan, you were going to say something.
So I'm so sorry. I was sneezing and like blowing my nose, and I thought I was on mute. So I'm so sorry about that.
Those guys, we put on screen.
It went live.
But yeah, I think it's like a little bit of a misconception that the industry sometimes thinks about me being like I only do Latino characters. I don't understand why that's happening. So I started off working in the industry in 2011, and I started working in development, helping develop and cast TV shows that we would sell for both non-scripted, scripted, and animation. Like one of my first bosses was a producer on Ren and Stimpy, which helped pave the way for adult animation today. It inspired The Simpsons. When I started in the industry, I didn't know that there was, I was this naive kid out of school, that there was a great need for authentic representation, and how not only is our Latinos, indigenous people, black people, Asian people of all over the world, like historically underrepresented, but it feels like we've been intentionally left out of rooms. And it took me a couple of years for me to realize that, because what I was doing is I was an intern wanting to learn how to develop TV shows, be a producer and everything, and then along the way fell in love with casting and became a casting director. But only over the last 5 years, and I think I'm going on year 12 now, have I been working on a lot of Latino-led projects. But my office, my first casting partner, Michelle Adams, she's a black woman from Texas. She's not an expert in the niche that I'm an expert in, which is the Latino base, and a lot of it has to do with understanding Spanish from all over Latin America. Like, we can tell when someone has a Cuban dialect versus a Mexican dialect versus a Puerto Rican dialect versus a Dominican versus a Colombian versus an Argentinian, right? That's something that is so niche that not everyone can do, but I just happen to be one of the handful of people that understands that. But Michelle, her first show was Moesha, and she's worked with Tyler Perry and Spike Lee. And Natalie, she helped cover 15 TV shows at CBS. So for us, I think we're accidentally placed in this environment where we are accidental pioneers when it comes down to pushing for diversity, and it's because we don't see ourselves, and we grew up not seeing ourselves, but that was because of what was given to us, right? So there's this huge call for ensuring that Latinos, black people, indigenous people, Asian people are seen, Middle Eastern people are seen in the screen, and that's for a reason. So when I get a show or a film, when I get a role, and there's someone that is written as an open ethnicity character, I'm going to prioritize POC, because that's what we need to do in order to make this an equal playing field. And there's a lot of actors that are incredibly gifted that just need the champions like me behind the scenes to advocate for them and to convince our director, our producers, our showrunners, our studio network streamer heads or executives that this is the perfect person and here's why. I think that just comes from having implicit biases, which is just part of human psychology. So we do everything, not just Latinos. That being said.
That's great. Thanks for the clarification. So we're going to go to questions from the public and then wrap it off. And then I would like to, then at the end, this is why we're going to do this. Then we're going to move next to the TV and have a picture with Anthony, and then we're going to have pictures with you. Anyone has a question? The lady in black?
Yeah, so I have a question for Alan. Do you have a preference for how we can reach out to you? Like, do you accept hard copy submissions or emails with the link to our reels, or do you offer acting workshops that we can get in touch with you?
Can you hear it, or you want me to repeat the? Okay, she wants to know if you have any, correct me if I'm wrong, any preferences of how can they reach out to him, and how do you like?
How to stay in touch, like send a postcard through digital, or
How to stay in
casting
touch with
workshop,
you?
something like that.
ABL casting, right? We answer that. We can't hear you. You muted yourself with your sneeze.
Yeah, I know. Good, because I don't want to sneeze and cough while everyone's talking. My, I look at a lot of everything on my Instagram and the ABL Casting Instagram and Facebook. So I think that's a really good way. You can also probably find my email, my work email online on IMDb, and reach out there. I think it's fine when actors send postcards and stuff, but that costs money, and I think you can still spend money. It's
And
fine.
right now you don't have you don't have a physical office. It's all virtual, right?
Yeah, we've closed our office down.
Love it.
When the pandemic started. So yeah, I just would, but I also just I I don't want actors to spend extra money on things and they don't really need to. But if you want to stay in touch, you can find my information online and on social media. We talk to people. It's just not like I think this brings up a good topic. It's all like, I think when actors reach out to casting professionals and directors, and producers, and writers, and people at networks and studios, just be intentional with why you're reaching out to someone. If it's because you see like a really good role or something like that, you know, that's a really good idea that you're maybe like perfect for. But
And explain why.
I get unsolicited messages, probably a couple dozen a week from talent via email. At the same time, I'm also getting, you know, emails that need to be prioritized by my showrunner on this Disney series I'm casting, and like the head of casting for Disney Television Animation. And you know, Donald DeLine, he's the co-president of the PGA. He's my producer on a film. So there's just other things that are priority sometimes. However, sometimes I'll get like an unsolicited email, and it just happens that person is perfect for a role. So there's that too, right? It's like finding that balance. So if you're reaching out to someone, just really be clear in your intentions. But I welcome people reaching out. If I don't respond to you, please don't be discouraged or upset. I'm taking a look at your stuff.
And also remember, I mean, we did a contest about anecdotes on Instagram, and ABL Talent donated their time to see you guys and awarded someone for a 45-minute session to see you acting. ABL casting as a whole with the casting directors, and then Natalie donated another 50, well, half an hour, Mario, tell me, 30-minute session, and they picked the winner, I didn't, and they picked Mario and they picked Kiara separately, and Mario got to read the scenes, and they discussed and met, and now they have Mario in the scope, and Kiara as well, plus Natalie. If you go to ABL, LBL casting, Natalie, she has classes every month.
Yeah.
So through ABL
Natalie's a teacher at a studio, and Natalie, one of my casting partners, she's an incredible teacher and casting director. She was an actor. She went to some university, I forgot which one, like University of Miami or something, and her degree was acting. And from there, she went on to perform on some like off-Broadway productions in musical theater. And then from there, she went to work at ICM, and then she became a casting director. So she's had this like path that has really made her an incredible teacher and casting director and producer, because she's also a producer as well. And so I share her class whenever she tells me to. She has a class like every month or two.
And also ABL casting. Another question? The lady in pink?
Hi. I have a question. I'm from Egypt originally, and back home, they won't even look at you if you have veil on. So I was wondering if here that is also an issue, and like as an actress.
I don't think it is. I mean, is there an issue of someone from Egypt because of her? I'm gonna move the camera so you can see her fantastic bullet today. So, the lady in pink, you wanna get up? Say hi, everybody. Great. That's a beautiful Mexican flag. Commercial.
So here's mine. Here's mine right here.
Sorry, no, I'm not looking. Okay, so the lady, do you want to get up? Because I think both Hamza and Alan can answer this. You're talking about stereotypes to a Mexican consulate. Imagine all the time, we get it, we get you. It happens to all of us. I mean, who here was not born in the U.S.? There you go. So we're going, all of us, through that. So she's asking if there is a way or a reason why, if she would be able to work or not in the U.S., if she can make it. I think, Hamza, you want to help that? I mean, he's
Wait,
an
I'm so
actor.
sorry. What was the question?
She wants to know, she's from Egypt, and she's a little worried that she might not be able to find a job as an actor here because of her nationality and her background.
And the veil.
And the
I feel
veil.
like
In the veil.
And
She's wearing a veil. You wanna get up again?
My veil, my
Good job.
headscarf.
oh, I see. No, I see why you feel that way. I think it's a very valid, like thought that you have every single day, because we, like a lot of the time, like you probably don't really see yourself on TV and film that much, right? And so that creates so many feelings that are so valid. And I think the important thing is, it's never going to be like, it's never going to be easy for anybody here, for anybody here sitting down. Even for me as a casting director, I get like 5 out of every 20 projects that I like have a meeting for. But I think for you, the most important thing is finding your community, and that also includes like an agent and a manager that believes in you and believes in your talent and believes in what you bring to the table. It's unfortunate that there's a lot of people that don't look like you or identify like you in executive rooms as the people that greenlight TV shows and films and finance those films and shows. So it does feel like it's an uphill battle. But I think the important thing is finding someone that, in terms of a team and community, that believes in you like you believe in yourself. And I think the things will fall into place. I think as long as you're doing the work, your acting presence is what's going to convince people to hire you. I know it's not easy, but there are people out there that are looking for you and want you to win.
Alan, Susana, Hamza, you wanna add something? Where did it come? Oh, right.
Yeah, I think that's a super interesting question, even, from where I'm sitting, and I wonder, if you could make a distinction, or if it depends on you as an actor, how far you're willing to go for a particular part, or if you're thinking of only parts of young women, young veiled women. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so in that case, then it would really, I think television and film is absolutely ready for you. I've seen so many, not even in Disney shows. I think I have seen at least 1 or 2 veiled girls, which is wonderful and refreshing. I'm myself raising 2 young women who are Cuban Arab or Arab Cuban Americans. So I understand, where you're coming from, but I'm also thinking that for you as an actor, it would be important to determine precisely if the roles that you're going for are roles that require a young Arab woman who's veiled, or if you're willing to go beyond that as well. But I think television and film are absolutely ready for you, as Alan said. How about you? Do you have
I mean, if you're a badass actor or actress, that's all that matters. I don't think everything else is secondary. So I would say work on your craft as an actor, and then everything else is secondary. And it's funny when you mentioned that question. I was like, why would you have a hard time?
I didn't get it either,
I
but
was
it's
like,
a great question.
Yeah, then I started to think about it. I was like, okay, well, let me think about that. Why would you have a hard time? Because you're part of America. This is the melting pot, right? You're part of that melting pot. But and I was like, okay, well, what role would she have a hard time with? I was like, maybe all of them. Police officer or something. Where it's like you have to wear a uniform. Yeah, it all depends on the person. But you're talking to somebody who, like, I casted a Japanese person and a woman from Mexico as my 2 leads. At the time, it's like, you can't do that. And it's like, you can't have Japanese and Spanish and English in one film. It's just like, screw you guys, I'm just going to do it. So, yeah, it's an uphill battle, no matter who you are. So it's going to be tough. But I would say go for any role that you want to go for. Just do it, and don't think about it.
Just apply with your veil and everything, they will understand, because maybe
Exactly.
you surprise them with your performance. And I'm very happy that you asked that question, because now maybe we're like I'm not even a writer, but I want to write something where I can include everything, like characters like yours. Thank you, thank you. Hamza, you want to say something? What is your name? Hamza says?
My name's Yasmin.
Yasmin, okay, Yasmin, okay, so.
Okay, Hamza, microphone up here.
Yeah, there's another actress right there with the veil on, and she's part of Arab American Casting. One cool thing about her picture, when the first thing I saw her, I mean, I think there's about 80,000 members. On the website alone, there's about 8,000 or 10,000 members. And I've seen a picture of like just graphic, just out of all the photos. Because it's like, there is 8 billion people on the planet. There's 2 billion people are Muslim. Like, what about us? Like, we're forgotten, and not only we're forgotten, but we as people who are Muslim, we just don't want to deal with being Muslim anymore. We don't want to wear a hijab. We don't want to do our things just so we can get a job. Everyone said here, just do your best. Some of the actresses that I have on Arab American Casting right now, you can go to the website, a few of them, one of them just posted, her photo was like so expensive, was done by like an artist. And that's very important because, you just don't, you want to go to the next level with it. You want to be so proud of who you are and the performance that you can bring on the table. It's so colorful too. And one of the problems I have with them is that in Iran, there, people have to have the hijab on. So some people are taking it off, and that's their right. I have some of my family members have hijab on. Some went to Mecca, some don't. Like I'm not going anywhere. If I was a girl, I would not have a hijab on. It's just a choice, My mom doesn't have it. Her sister has. So it's a choice. So I don't want this lady right there. She chose a couple of Arab ladies in here. Did not chose to do that. But America now, I think they think this probably is not the choice. It's forced. And that kind of sucks because now we have to kind of like fight her battle. Before it was like it's our choice to do that. Now it's like you see it, she's forced. So it's the best thing you can do for all young ladies out there. Is just really, if that's who you are, that's what you want to do. Just take it to the next level.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. You can totally come and talk to them if you want the moment. Nestor, is this a question for everybody?
Yes.
For everybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
for everybody.
All right.
So, like this person comes for the role, prepare the sides and everything, and then on the spot, you feel like, no, that's not the role, but I think a different role on the same movie. Do you go ahead and offer them sides for them to review and do? How comfortable do you feel doing that? That's a question for all.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, if you're not right for this role, it's like, but you're, of course, it's like, why not? Again, if you're a good actor, it's like, I want to work with you. That wouldn't even be a question, of course.
Yeah, actually, that's what happened in this case and has happened to me before, that I have someone in mind for a particular role, and then someone else shows up, and suddenly it's like, no, I gotta switch. And that happened with Christina as well for the musical. I was looking for something else, and she showed up, and suddenly the other actor that I had was also brilliant. Took on the other role, and it ended up being fantastic. I think, following your gut at the moment is extremely important, and reshuffling the cards,
Yeah, that's a brave stance. So the question is, if you're an actor and you come in with a role, but the question is, if it's okay that you ask for another role and cold read right there for another role.
No, actually, the question is, as a director, as a casting director, you perceive that this person is better for a different role, and on the spot, tell them, okay, why don't you read these sides and let's run it right now, hot.
That happens a lot, right? That you show up for one role where you're like, you know what, read this other.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing. For me, what I would do is I would just give that person like a couple days to return with that. But I've seen a lot of people like cold read for a different role on the spot and like blow it out of the park. You know who's really good at that? Actors on like soap operas, because they're given so much to do, so much. It's a very hard thing to like memorize your lines, right? This is why theater actors are incredible actors as well. They, do like 3 hours worth of dialogue and they memorize it all. But if you feel comfortable in doing that, I'm like totally okay with that.
I just want to add to that, on 2 projects, an actress came in to audition for the lead. I didn't give it to her, but I really liked her. She was a really, really solid actress, and I wanted her as part of the film. So I thought, I talked to other people, like, do you think it's wrong to ask her if she'll play this other role, which is much smaller? So in the end, I'm like, well, that's going to be her decision to take it or not. And so I offered it to her. I was like, I have this other role. It's a lot of speaking lines, but it's not the lead. And I could tell she was somewhat offended. She's like, no, I'll pass on it. But it's like, it's dependent on the person. You got to like swallow your pride and, decide, okay, I didn't get the lead, but I still get a role here. But I do have issues with that in coming back to this actor and saying, you didn't get this part, but would you want to play this? Because it feels, like, I'm sorry you didn't get it, but But anyways, from the actor's point of view, I'd say just take it. Just take the job. Like, turning down a job is never.
Actually, it's actually just like when we ask them to read again, such a great gift for us.
It is.
I'm also
It
an
is.
actor. I'm a SAG actor, so if someone,
What?
to read again or like they give me directions. Another gift is like, hey, can you read this? So that's the enthusiasm and so I'm glad you didn't cast her for the lead because you probably don't want her. I want her to say yes. I want her to be yes. 'Cause acting is so great. Like one of the thing I learned in acting school is to go into casting office. That's when before I was in casting. And I'm like, that's why I started the casting. Because I wanted to be a better actor, to see what's out there. Some of the Arab actors out there are so good. They come out like on the floor crying. They're just like, they have no papers. And I'm like, as an actor, I'm like, no, I can't do that. Like that's my competition. That's so good. But some of them, one guy his name is Maz. He's like an older guy, and actually his name is Marco Han. I forgot his name. Marco Han. He's with the 10,000 PC, and he's just like great big man, a huge guy, probably 10 feet tall. And so like, yeah, he was 10,000 PC, one of the lead actors. Thank you for coming. I was going like, thank you for coming. He said, it's acting. I'm so happy to be here. And like, it changed my freaking. I don't know what he said. It just changed my life. It changed. Sorry, I keep saying this. I don't know what you're doing.
They're like
You're
me.
talking.
Yeah, let's try to keep it right here so they can hear.
Yeah, sorry, I've never been a singer before. But no, he was so awesome. Like, hey, I wanted to be here, like in a way. But everybody we know, they talk a lot about you. They love you, and of course you got the role, So just that feeling that he wants to be there, man. Everybody here, we don't have to tell them because they're here. They came here to benefit out of anything to add to their craft. So just that.
My thinking too is like, if you went for a role and you didn't get that role for whatever reason, but they're offering you another role, I think that's a really big honor because it means that no matter what you bring, you brought something that made this director, the showrunner, whoever, want you to be a part of this like magic. And it's not easy to get a film or a show made. It's not easy to book a role, but that means you had such a big impact on this role, and it sucks that you didn't get it, but you had such an incredible impact that they wanted you to still be a part of it. I think that's a really, really great and beautiful thing. However, if you don't feel like that's the role you want to do, if it doesn't make sense for you financially, if you're not available, if you're going to change a bunch of things in your schedule and it just doesn't make sense for you, then you should totally feel okay saying no to that. But I think it's a beautiful thing if someone still wants you, to be a part of their magic.
We're gonna have to wrap this up, I'm sorry, but you can come and talk to them, because it's already 8 o'clock. I remember Irina Mendel, what is it? The Two Sisters, what's the name? The movie?
Frozen.
Frozen. She auditioned originally for Tangle, and they were so impressed with her voice, but she wasn't the right person to play the main character on Tangle. The casting director, the executive producers, whoever, recorded her on their cell phone, and when Frozen came, they said, this is the one. They brought her in, she booked it, and Frozen was way much better successful than Tangle by far. So yeah, you just go prepare and make an impression regardless if they pick you or not. Guys, we have to finish this right now, but you can comment up to them. We're going to take a picture. Hold on, everybody stay there because we would like to have a picture with you guys still where you are. If someone can volunteer to take a picture of the 5 of us, 4 in person and 1 there, we're going to come to Anthony.
Standing near the monitor?
Yeah, next to the monitor. Watch it with my mic right here. Can someone take a picture in this one? Thank you. And thank you so much, everybody. If you took pictures, please tag us. Tag everybody. That's fine. We're embarrassed. I like. Yeah, you can see it. It's like.
You have anything else to say?
You have anything else to say, Anthony? Alan, I'm sorry. She's pointing.
I was
You see
I
what you
was
did?
just giving up the peace sign.
Yeah, but here's everybody.
Check your Instagram.
Sorry I couldn't be there, guys, but it's better than you guys getting COVID.
Thank you.
Hey, Hamza, come next to me.
Absolutely.
Okay, my beautiful flag. Come this way.
Oh, yeah, no.
Can you see it? May I touch it?
Okay, ready?
Thank you. Now, thank you so much. I want to thank all of you. Thank you, everybody. Can you hold it? Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to be here. 1 minute, yes, hold on. I call that phone on the computer. Hopefully I don't break this. And you'll be here. Hamza, can you hold it? Oh, no, I might disconnect it. I can hold it. Never mind. I'm sorry, computer. Okay, like that. Okay. Let's just take a picture with everybody there. No, come. Stay. Okay, ready? To the public. Let's take a picture.
Oh, this way with everybody behind us.
Selfie with everybody behind. I think I should disconnect us so you can see us. Sorry. Unfortunately, you're not going to be in the picture. But thank you.
Womp
Okay.
womp.
And this way. Come here. Okay.
I'll just go like this.
Okay, Hamza, you there?
I don't know everybody and that will be.
No.
I got you on the camera.
Thank you so much, everybody. Alan, thank you so much. Can you give me your authorization to give and I connect you with my grade. Send me a message probably. Alan, I don't know if you can see me. But thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.